So, back to the Nintendo Switch. The way I feel about it is it's a great console. I may not play it in handheld mode like the company intended me to, but maybe as time goes on, I will. I tried it out. I didn't care too much for it. Does that defeat the purpose? No. Because if I traveled a lot, I would be able to utilize that feature a lot more, I'm sure. But the bashing of Nintendo is is not okay, people. Because Nintendo is doing something that the other companies aren't. And I know a lot of people are going to try to say the PS Vita. The Vita was what the Switch ended up being. Like like Nintendo stole the idea from PlayStation. The Vita, and I'm sorry Vita owners, but the Vita is dead. The company is not supporting it. Now there is a patent out that sounds like it's the successor to the Vita, and I'm excited about it because I own a PlayStation 4, I own an Xbox One, and I own a Nintendo Switch. And just for the records, just so you know I'm not bullshitting, you see the Switch, the Xbox One, and the PlayStation 4. So, really, no fanboy here. I'm not fucking around. Okay? I own what the fuck I want because I'm not about to miss out on no fun. Games are entertainment. And I hear what a lot of people are saying. It's all about the graphics. And what most people will say is that without the graphics, the experience is not as immersive as it should be. And there's some truth to that. The truth of the matter is that we are somewhat spoiled by AAA titles that give us these experiences that we've never seen before graphically. Grand Theft Auto 5, when it released, was one of the experiences that I feel spoiled us somewhat. I hear so many people comparing a game to Grand Theft Auto 5, it's not even funny. They're just like, oh, well, this, and this, and that. In Grand Theft Auto 5, there was this, that, and that. And that's true. But companies in the gaming industry seem to have different visions. And every company has a different vision. For example, Microsoft and PlayStation at the moment are focusing on power. Nintendo is focusing on something else. And I'm hearing a lot of people say they don't really care for the HD Rumble. And I'm sorry that you don't care about the HD Rumble, but there are people out there that do. In particular, me. I think it's a great feature that in time will be utilized to its fullest potential. And I actually applaud Microsoft for implementing the impulse triggers in the Xbox One controller. Of course, they really didn't utilize that technology. I would have liked for the Gears of War 4 to have used those impulse triggers. And correct me if I'm wrong, maybe they did use them. I don't think they did, but maybe they did. But innovating is the only way to keep a certain percentage of the market interested in your product. You cannot continue releasing the same thing and expect for people to purchase it. The Nintendo Switch is basically taking what the Wiimote did, what the Wii U did. So basically, it's taking what the Wii and the Wii U did right, and then revising it, making it better, and then putting it in the form of a hybrid console, something that you can play as a traditional home console at home, and then on the go, you can have a handheld console quality experience. How can that not be innovative? How is that not innovative? And I hear the hate from gamers. It's Nintendo is just a Nintendo right now at the moment is infamous in the gaming industry. Especially from the younger generation, it's fun to hate Nintendo, or it's cool to hate on Nintendo. This is something. This is a thing. This is a real thing. And I know the older gamers from the 90s are agreeing with me. Because, like I said, back in the day, Nintendo was all you had. Unless you were going with Sega. Of course, here came Sony with the PlayStation. But the main thing is that Nintendo has been in the game. Okay? They've been doing this shit. And how the fuck can Microsoft come along with the Xbox? And then, of course, PlayStation was around. You know, they were around. And I'm not going to lie, the graphics were better on the PlayStation than they were on, like, say, the N64. But were the games better? Arguably, no. I mean, I had more fun on the N64. I remember me, my older brother, my two cousins, playing 4-player multiplayer. I remember the first time we played Smash Brothers together. I remember the first time we played some of the wrestling games back when it was WWF and they had the No Mercy and stuff like that. Like, we had so much more fun playing the N64 than we did the PlayStation. And the PlayStation really didn't offer that 4-player multiplayer experience until they added that little multi-tap thing where you can, plug that in, and then you had all these other different, controller ports where you can plug up to 4 controllers. And that was a pain in itself anyways. But I'm not here to bash Sony because, like I said, I own a PlayStation 4, I own an Xbox One, and I own a Nintendo Switch. And the main thing that I want to talk about today is that this hating on Nintendo will probably never stop, but we need to address this issue because I'm a firm believer that if you do not address the issue, it will never be fixed. You can never fix an issue that's not being addressed. So we have to address it. And a lot of people from the older generation of gaming will admit that Nintendo has made quality products for years. And this has never stopped. They have never stopped making quality products. Now, sure, with the release of the Nintendo Switch, a lot of people were probably up in arms about the 1-2 switch. And me included, I don't know what the fuck they were doing with that 1-2 switch. I mean, coming from Wii Sports to Nintendo Land to 1-2 switch, the quality, in all honesty, is not there. I mean, it's cheesy. The multiplayer experiences lack depth. They don't really have that depth that you really need to be able to play them repetitively. Excuse me. You cannot, there's no replay value to them. And I think in Nintendo's best interest, They would have been a lot better off just releasing a Nintendo Land 2, utilizing the Joy-Cons and the new technology that's in the Joy-Cons, but they didn't. It's not the end of the world though. They probably didn't have as much time as people think they did. So they did what they could to have something available. I'm glad that they did it, but I hope that moving forward, Nintendo understands that 1-2 Switch was not well received. If you want to bundle it with the Nintendo Switch moving forward, once the library starts getting a little bit more vast, by all means do it. But definitely pick up the pieces and really start figuring out a way to take advantage of this new technology that you guys have invested in. Because HD Rumble, when I heard about it, I was genuinely impressed. I mean, maybe it may be a gimmick to most, but to me, it's a feature that is innovating the market. And it's going to, in my opinion, take off, and it's going to show the other competitors what can be done in terms of trying something new. It's worth the investment. And I want to see where it's going to go. I mean, you cannot tell me that playing a Super Mario game, for example, the Super Mario Odyssey, if you're running around and you're collecting these coins and these controllers are ching 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 chinging like you got fucking coins, I mean, people are gonna love that shit. Are you serious? Like, that is the type of innovation that Nintendo offers, always have, and I hope always will offer in the gaming industry. And I want to know what other people think about it. I want to know not necessarily what your opinion is on HD Rumble. I don't want to hear you say HD Rumble is a waste. Nintendo should have put their money into the power of the Nintendo Switch, because to be completely honest, the Nintendo Switch is powerful enough. It doesn't need to be that much more powerful. I would have loved for it to be 8 gigabytes of dedicated RAM. Fuck yeah, I would have loved that shit. What do you mean? A nigga would have been hella satisfied if it would have been 8 gigabytes of RAM. But at the same time, do we need 8 gigabytes of RAM? Because I've been playing some of these games, and I'm not trying to be mean, but Horizon, I was playing you before Zelda came along. And Zelda is a game that utilizes less dedicated RAM than Horizon Zero Dawn. And as soon as the console, the Nintendo Switch, more specifically, came out, all I wanted to do was play Zelda. And like I said, I own every console. If the Zero Dawn, Horizon Zero Dawn, was so immersive and so fun and so engaging, wouldn't I have completed that title before moving on to the Zelda? Or wouldn't I have at least played them back and forth? You see what I'm saying though? Like, let's be honest, people. And like I said, this is not an attack on Horizon Zero Dawn. I was excited about it. I saw it at the E3 reveal and I was blown away. I was like, this is going to be great. But little did I know that my interest was going to fade away once the Nintendo Switch launched and once the Zelda Breath of the Wild was available. So that's my thing, you know. And in regards to a lot of people making comments about the Nintendo Switch not having games, let's be honest right now. The PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One does not really have much coming right now either. I mean, the Microsoft, they've got that Scalebound, which I was really excited about. It's developed by Platinum Games, and that shit got canceled. Like, you guys canceled it? What the fuck? Like, that game looked good, but there probably were some technical difficulties going on that they couldn't really pull it off. But my main thing is that if you look at the library right now of games on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, absolutely better than the Switch now. And of course it is. I mean, those consoles, have been out for so much longer. But if you take the life of the Xbox One or the life of the PlayStation 4 and you say, oh, the Switch has been out for 4 or 5 years. I mean, do you really think in 4 or 5 years the Nintendo Switch is not going to be the go-to console for most people? They're going to have all the games everybody's going to want to play. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing that I want to voice. That's the thing I want to explain, because I'm gonna be completely honest. I am a little bit in my feelings about how people feel about Nintendo. I feel that the new generation hates Nintendo because it's cool to hate Nintendo. I feel that people are ashamed to be a Nintendo system owner. If you're not a gamer from the retro era of gaming, more specifically the Atari, the Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis, the etc., the Game Boy era, things like that, then you're ashamed. You're ashamed of liking Nintendo. You probably have friends in your class that make fun of you if you say you like Mario or you say you like Pokemon or whatever. But look up the releases. Look up the recent releases of what's come out for the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Look up the coming soon, okay? And of course, I know what a lot of people are going to say. E3 is going to change that. We're going to get a lot of announcements, and it's the same for the Nintendo Switch. At E3, they're going to announce all of the things that people want, and when those titles are announced, then I think that'll put a lot of people at rest, at ease. They won't be so upset about purchasing the Nintendo Switch. I know me personally, I will be a lot more relaxed once E3 comes and goes, because then at that point I'll be a satisfied Nintendo Switch owner. I'm not saying that I'm not satisfied now. I'm really satisfied with the Nintendo Switch. I love it. But truth be told, I'm not very interested in indie games. There are a few that I will probably purchase. One being Graceful Explosion thing, or whatever it's called, the Graceful Explosion. That one looks pretty cool. And then there's also the Fast RMX, which I do want to eventually purchase. But my thing is, because I didn't buy Fast RMX when the console launched, now I'm looking at, do I pay $20 and buy Fast RMX, or do I wait until April 28th and put that $20 towards Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? And I'm thinking I'm going to go with the latter. I'm thinking I'm just going to save the $20, invest that into the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I think I'm going to be a lot happier. That's not to discredit the company that developed Fast RMX. From what I understand, they really do what they can to push the limits and ensure that they're not making Nintendo look like a joke. But Nintendo haters out there, you guys got to figure something else, because I hear what you're saying. You're saying it's underpowered. You're saying it's overpriced. But, and there's some people that probably would say, if the console was less money, I would buy it. But there's also some haters that are so dedicated to hating Nintendo that they would say, even if it were $50, even if it were 100, I still wouldn't buy that piece of shit. I have a PC. I have a PlayStation 4. I have an Xbox One. It's getting old, people. We got to find a different way to de-stress. Not just hate on Nintendo, because that's cool to do or it's fun to do. And I hope that this generation Nintendo really steps their game up, because Nintendo is very capable of accomplishing a lot more than they've done. And I would say that most people that are fans of Nintendo know what Nintendo's possible, or possible, what they can possibly do and what they're capable of doing. And I think that's the reason why we've been fans as long as we have been, because we know that in due time they're really going to come out swinging and they're really going to impress the haters. The, I mean, we're not even going to say Pokemon, because a lot of people will say if they do a 3D Pokemon and they go all out and they, it's a high budget, it's a AAA quality experience, then a lot of people will really be impressed, and that'll kind of draw people in. But just compare it to Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go came out June of 2016. Everybody was fucking walking around. Everybody was interacting with each other. Everybody was catching them all. And that shit fizzled out, man. I mean, there's some people that still play it, but I don't really have any interest. I mean, the new generation came, the Gen 2 came, and then there was the I think they say like trading, and they haven't really worked on the battling too much. And I mean, and then you got the legendaries, which still aren't there. There's no Mewtwo, there's no Mew, there's none of that. But the stupid part about it is that the success that Pokemon Go had is something that Nintendo can replicate with the Switch. Because one, it's portable. Yes, I know a lot of people would say that the battery life isn't good enough, and then also the screen has like a glossy finish. So because the screen has a glossy finish, you really can't play it in the sunlight like you could you're bringing your mobile phone outside. But I still have problems with playing Pokemon Go outside anyways with the sun. I mean, I had to try to find an area where it was shaded well so I could see my screen anyways, even at full brightness. And I keep my phone at full brightness all the time. So that's my main thing. Nintendo haters, figure something out, because at the moment, you guys are really, really pushing it. And I'm not saying I'm mad. I'm just saying that somebody's got to stand up for Nintendo, man. I mean, there's a lot of YouTubers, well-known YouTubers that support Nintendo, and they say, this is a great product. They have a great amount of games. They have the best IPs in the world, which is all true. But somebody's got to stand up for Nintendo. Somebody's got to really let the haters know that you can continue hating on them. By all means, put your energy into it if that's what helps you sleep better at night. But there are other ways to de-stress than to hate on Nintendo. For example, yoga. If you haven't tried it, look into it. Also, if you are single, you may want to look into having a significant other of some kind, because that will probably help you feel a little bit better about life. I'm not a supporter of drugs, so if you think that that's something that I'm gonna list as a way to de-stress, then unfortunately I'm not gonna support that. But what you do on your own time is your own business, and if that's something that helps you, and if it means that you're going to not hate on Nintendo, then maybe you should do drugs. The main thing though is that there's more to life than hating on Nintendo. Cause they always gonna be here. I mean, I could be wrong, and maybe in the next 5 years they might fucking just fall out of the game, and they might have too many failures. But the Nintendo Switch won't be one. I can guarantee you that. And if they can figure something out, if they can keep it going, if they can keep the ball rolling, it's only going to get better from here. So Nintendo fans, keep supporting Nintendo. Don't be ashamed of who you are and what you love. And if Nintendo is what you love, I fucks with you. Let's do it, man. We going to the top. Number one, it's happening this gen. The PlayStation 4, great console. The Xbox One, great console. But the Nintendo Switch, that's the best console. All right? I know y'all thinking I'm a fanboy for saying that, but you'll see it in eventually. You'll see it in due time. You know, it may take you a good year for the library to get there, but at the end of the day, the reason why I say the Nintendo Switch is the best console is because it's the truth. Because Nintendo makes games that are entertaining. Nintendo makes games that are fun. Before Nintendo made gaming consoles, they made what? Playing cards. And playing cards is what? A form of entertainment. Before Microsoft made consoles, what did they make? They made PCs. And Sony, on the other hand, they're more or less a kind of a jack of all trades. I mean, I love their televisions. I love the PlayStation 4. But the main point is that Nintendo's focus is entertainment, and they're really, really fixated on satisfying the gamer, giving them experiences that are going to be remembered. I'm not going to forget the experience that Zelda Breath of the Wild offered me. It's probably going to stick with me for the next decade unless a company like Microsoft or Sony can match that or exceed that. If it happens, I will definitely go on YouTube and make a video about it and let people know that there has been a game that has topped Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'm not saying that Zelda is the best game of all time. I actually didn't really play too many Zelda games prior to the Breath of the Wild, but for Nintendo to have drew me in the way they did by supporting it, by showing videos of it, and doing everything they could to let people know that this is a Zelda game for people that have never really played Zelda. That's big for me. I played Zelda Ocarina of Time. I played Zelda Majora's Mask, and I played like maybe one or two of the handheld experiences. That's it. So I'm not really this Zelda, you know, I don't know the lore or anything, but I learned a lot about the lore playing the game, and I will say that I'm interested in playing the next iteration. I'm interested in playing the next Zelda. So Nintendo, you've got a Zelda fan. Um, I'm not necessarily excited about what Nintendo is going to do with the next Zelda because I'm sure it's probably not going to be an open world. But I'm now looking forward to the Metroid, and I'm looking forward to some of the other titles that have been put in the background for so long because Mario and Pokemon have been so profitable for Nintendo. So I'm looking forward to it, y'all. I'm not gonna hold you up too much longer. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope the Nintendo haters got a little bit of information that they needed to fix this hate in their heart and in their soul. And if not, there'll be more information. There'll be more to come. There'll be more. I'll help you guys through it. I'll help you guys not hate Nintendo. It's something that I'm willing to do because I love Nintendo and I love people. So that's all that needs to be. Take care.